Howdy ho, folks. It's your multiversal medium here for another episode of absolute effing garbage. Last episode in Harvestella, the game had the first moment of good writing it's had in... Gosh, I'm going to say around 40 hours. 40 hours into a game, and it finally had a smidge of decent writing. I would outright call it good writing because immediately after getting the reveal about it, it had to like point in your face as like, this is what we're talking about, by the way. This is the thing we're being figurative about with the whole Cain and Abel aspect. But it's better writing than we've seen throughout the entire game until now. So, with that in mind, this game went from F tier to E minus. F tier being the lowest in my mind. We're not freaking fairly odd parenting up here in F minus minus or whatever. Nah, F is just failing. It's been failing for a hot minute. I don't think B led anywhere, so let's go to C. But it's... The reveal of last episode is what I was expecting this game to start doing writing-wise, and like that kind of level of proper reveal in writing since like chapter 4. That just didn't go off for some reason. Lovely. I love it when my skills just don't go off. Anyways. Like, that's what I was expecting when people are saying, like, the writing gets so good. No. So basically what that equated to was chapters 1 through 3, where we were dealing with all of the Seas Light and stuff, didn't have any build-up or anything leading to the meta plot. And then we had a big bad showdown moment with who we thought was the villain, and that was just the beginning of the meta plot at around the halfway point of the game. Like, it took around half of the game before we started getting the actual plot. And then, as usual, it's still filled to the effing brim with plot holes. There's still a lot of issues going on everywhere you look. That's our backtrack point. Awesome. That is something... I don't like this game's dungeon design. I think I've gone on record saying such. It's more so like, they don't design a dungeon, more so... They don't design a dungeon around the theme of the dungeon, I should say. They design a dungeon and then just like change the set pieces slash like walls and everything to fit the set piece. And I talked about that especially during the amusement park dungeon, where it's like, this makes no sense as an amusement park. This is a dungeon first with amusement park set pieces in it, basically. So I'm not the biggest fan of the dungeon design. I ain't. But like I was saying last episode, with the marking of the teleports and properly marking them A, B, C, D, E, so on and so forth, it along with the backtracking points is some of the nicer... Okay, so it's that side. Oh, well, too late. Oh, well. You guys can attack him. Or not. You guys can just stand there after I attack. Are you serious? I know their AI's bad, but like, are you effing serious? Whatever. Whatever. We already know the AI for the party members. Honestly, NPCs. Every NPC has bad AI, whatever. But it showcases some actual kind to the player game design. Something that we don't really exactly see almost anywhere in the game. Like, we're basically not seeing that anywhere. From the farming aspect to how the heck battles are handled. Like, legit, there's a lot of game design elements that are actually just not player friendly. And it's surprising that the most player friendly design element is actually the dungeon design. And that's the praise this game gets this episode. If it does something viable with the effing plot again, sure, it will get a bit more praise. I don't think I've ever said like it doesn't deserve praise when it's actually done something right. The closest was the story bit last episode, where I was like, yeah, that's the thing I was just saying. That's a good thing. The issue is that it's still not great because of everything around it. Like, once more... Oh, my effing gosh. The lack of iframes in this game, I effing swear. I effing swear. Anyways, like, that was probably the cruelest of, hey, you did something good, but does it effing matter? And that's about as cruel as I'll be in that sort of regard. Because it's way too little too late for anything. You can't have decent writing only at the near zenith of the effing game and expect it to be considered good writing throughout. Like, heck, a well-written story with a bad ending or a bad handled later tenth of the story will still get bashed. That's what happened. We should probably call it here. We just got a backtrack point. It's like 10:30. But that's what happened with Game of Thrones. At least the show. Everyone liked Game of Thrones and was super about the show. Well, that effing sucked. So, my recording software just crashed, and I paused the game as I noticed it, and I checked the earlier recording. So basically all you guys missed was me teleporting here and finishing. Honestly, I didn't even finish the thought process about Game of Thrones or whatever. Like, I was mid-sentence and my recording software crashed. And as I was trying to get the recording going again, it crashed again. And then it crashed my computer. So that effing sucked. Anyways, large philosophy core used in crafting, not fortifying weapons. Whatever. And yeah, that all can just go. Who cares? Alrighty. Anyways, before I got horribly interrupted by the fact that my computer wanted to have an aneurysm, I was talking about how, let's see here, fortify weapons, fortify weapons, fortify weapons, keep, about how Game of Thrones had great writing during like a majority of the effing show. Like, everyone was all about that writing. And then they caught up to the books. Because it was the books that were written well, not the actual show. And the show was just really on point with the books. So after getting caught up with the books, the writers didn't know what to do. So they just wrote what they thought might happen, and it didn't go well. It really didn't go well. Like, oh my effing god, did it not go well. And now everyone hates the Game of Thrones show because that's how it ended. And I find it kind of low-key hilarious because I wasn't super watching it or super obsessed with it. And this isn't like me saying, haha, you guys are stupid for liking it. No, you're allowed to like Game of Thrones, and I know it's good. I know it is. I know people are still waiting for George R.R. Martin to finish writing the books and everything, which is understandable. It's just from an outside perspective of seeing this thing that everyone's super obsessed with, and then the entire fan base that had been built up over years all just instantly turning on it and being like, what the F? And just being super angry and hating it. It was hilarious from an outsider's perspective. And I don't think I'll ever get that kind of perspective again. Ever. Like, I think the only way I could ever get that perspective again is if some massive, well-known anime, manga, whatever, does something similar where it just causes the entire fan base to turn on it. And I would kind of love it if they did. I suppose a small thing like that kind of happened with Dragon Ball GT. I feel like most people don't like Dragon Ball GT, and I know it's not canon, I don't think. I don't think Akira Toriyama ever worked on that. That was like the animators. Did the animators do GT, or did they only do like the last season of Dragon Ball Z? I can't remember. Either way, I think something like that happened, and the entire fan base hates, I think, GT. But I was too young to fully comprehend what was happening there, because I would have found it just as hilarious from an outside perspective. Actually, I wasn't outside it. I liked Dragon Ball Z at the time, so that's still an incorrect allegory. Bummer drummer. Ah, well. But yeah, you can't just have a story 75% done and then try to put in writing that you realize is good. 100%, you can't do that. You can't have all the build-up and everything plot-wise happen at the midpoint of the game. You gotta have the world building and build-up and all that stuff happen earlier on. And I'm certain someone would argue, is like, that's what they were doing with the Seas Light. And it's like, no, the fuck they weren't. No, they really weren't. The Seas Light nonsense is just that. It's nonsense. It's irrelevant. It's completely effing irrelevant 99% of the time. It does not equate to anything. Let's see here. Construction, crafting. Don't care. I am amazed I'm getting so many wild leaves. For the longest time when trying to get stuff for healing items, I would not get any wild leaves. Like, I just couldn't get enough wild leaves considering how many mushrooms I had. It was infuriating. So the fact that I'm just like super stocked up on them now is surreal. It really is. I already went over the issues with the whole harvesting system. Like, it's just inherently issues with the entirety of the harvesting system. And there's, as far as I'm aware, no other means of doing anything besides that. Let's just eat one of these right now. That'll let us get more stamina and everything, and maybe slowly deal with our stomach so we can actually eat more to heal later. Anyways, yeah, they just don't offer any other solution to that. Is it so hard to have an upgrade that's like an herb garden? I feel like that would be a pretty obvious like upgrade thing you could do that would let you plant the herbs you get from harvesting, so you could actually like continuously harvest them. They're used for various forms of crafting, so on and so forth. I do not comprehend why this game considers it such an issue in so many regards. Gosh dang it, what is the map? There we go. So okay, we were over here to the left. That's what we were doing. It's just all the issues I have with this game and its farming nonsense have been talked to the moon and back about, and it's infuriating. There's countless solutions. There's countless solutions to every single issue this game has, from the writing to the BS like game systems. There's so many solutions that the devs had to go out of their way to not do, basically. Good number of episodes ago, I fully went on record why I actually hate this game, and it's the fact that it's kind of pompous. Like, just obsessed with thinking it's good. Constantly thinking what it's doing is all the right moves when it's doing all the wrong moves. And it's something that tends to happen a lot. And I mean an effing lot when it comes to Square-based RPGs, Square Enix-based RPGs, stuff like Final Fantasy, where they think they're so right. And it's like impossible to talk to people and it's like, no, that's bad. That is just bad. I had someone just recently call out a post I made over a year ago, because in the post I said Final Fantasy had bad writing. Over a year-old post, and if anyone sees it and they're like, how could this dude say Final Fantasy has bad writing? He's effing delusional or whatever. Legit, that just happens regularly. That kind of nonsense is why in, I think it was like one of the earlier 10 episodes, I can't remember which episode, frickin', how much you want to bet it's not going to let me walk through the door? Okay, we're doing a cutscene. That's the rest of this episode. But that's why in the earlier episodes when I talked about why I dislike Final Fantasy, I had to come up with an argument. Because anytime I say I dislike Final Fantasy, people get angry and pissed at me. Because they think Final Fantasy can't be bad. At least not the mainline series, and not to the degree it is. So yeah, I had a dude randomly say from a post from a year to 2 years ago how I must be delusional for thinking Final Fantasy has bad writing. And my counterpoint to him was, the game series is known for not having a final boss that is related to the story whatsoever. And his reply was, you think a final boss being built up equates to good writing? And I didn't know what to say. Not because he had a valid point, but because I realized there's just such a special kind of stupid in the world, where even if you explain to them, these are good writing techniques, this is how a story should work from like the whole story arc narrative, this is what an English class teacher should be teaching you about writing and stories and reading and what denotes plot holes and so on and so forth. There are some people so stupid they won't accept that. They won't accept literal facts when it comes to storytelling and how we have refined how the art form works over generations. And I'm just assuming these dudes who think they're so great got through with C's in English classes because the teachers didn't want to deal with them. And that's what I'm assuming. Anyways, let's get to this actual cutscene. What is this room for? It's probably a room completely unnecessary for us to go into. Like, it's probably a room that's just this. This is the entire room. This doesn't lead anywhere. But we have to go in this room for a cutscene so they can lay on some quote-unquote world building that is not necessary, or maybe filled with plot holes, or be completely irrelevant to what the heck we're doing. Because that seems to happen a lot. This is the library, an automatic archive of human knowledge that was compiled by a news company in the Common Era. I think this is the first time they use the term Common Era. Why do they call it the Common Era? That's stupid. Like, whatever. It was 2,000 years ago. Calling it the Common Era seems incorrect. 2, I wouldn't trust an archive of human knowledge made by a news company. I really effing want it. That seems like one of the worst archives of human knowledge ever. It's a database of human history, research, culture, customs, all of human knowledge. The fact that Gary McGuire was killed in the year 2072 on September the 12th. Everything a robot like us would need to know. Yeah, I don't trust a freaking archive from a news company. I don't. There's no reason I should. We use it as an external storage to draw knowledge from. I would have figured you use the database as a database, yes. So this is why you omens know so much about... No. 1, hey, no music again. It's probably going to change the music here in a couple voice boxes, so whatever. 2, what? Fine. So stupid. I hate how they write every character like an effing idiot. So, 1, this is a database about human culture and human everything. Well, he said the Common Era, and I guess we don't know if the Common Era means now or 2,000 years ago on Earth. But as far as we know, we don't have a news company. We get newsletters, though. So do we have a news company in the high fantasy setting? We get newsletters. But it's from the frickin' like Castle of Illusion. And it's spam of them just trying to keep the fake humans going. Anyways, let's say the Common Era is 2,000 years ago. All the information would not be technically relevant to us, the Ables, because, well, we're a different species that grew up on a different planet. And yes, we're very similar to humans and could probably easily integrate as a whole, but we're a different species, technically. Like, grown in a vacuum. All that information right there is irrelevant. It's highly irrelevant. The most you can say is it's got human anatomy and the basis for human society. The basis of human society being like religion and groupings and so on and so forth, learning various building techniques as a whole. But even then, that doesn't exactly work because the religion was founded around the Seas Lights in this area, which wouldn't have happened back on Earth because there weren't Seas Lights. So what Hein just said is just incorrect. But he's supposed to be our second smartest party member. What did you want to show us here then? Yeah, Baraka, at least you're getting to the point. What did you want to show us? Why are we in this room? What does it matter? There's the new music. Like I said, they can't mix the music. That's what keeps happening. They can't mix music. They don't know how. It's hilarious once you realize it. They just don't know how to mix music. They don't know how to have one soundtrack meld and mix into the other, or just like have a soundtrack that is okay being cut off at any point to go into another soundtrack. They just don't know how to do that. I wanted to go over some history with you before going into my plan. Dude, doesn't matter. Specifically, the Kane's final history. Okay, so this is a database of stuff from Earth. I don't know why he calls it the Common Era. Hey, yeah, that's Earth. The Paradise Project? Arya, you shouldn't know this. You were unconscious before that. You shouldn't know anything about this. Yes, that was the last piece of research that the Kanes conducted. Arya should not have been a part of it. Nope. Nope. Hold up. No. Just 100% no. It don't work like that. We were showcased on Earth. Arya was doing the research into the Red Queen about the possible Astrum cell, quote unquote, stupid buzzword BS. Let's be effing honest. That's what she was doing. And then she fell unconscious and was cryogenically frozen. That was the last thing she ever did and never knew about. When we got out of the pod and into the Forgotten Eden, whatever, paradise nonsense, because this game can't decide if it wants to do Greek mythology as its allegories or Judeo-Christian theology as its allegories. It legit can't decide. We woke up there and we're dealing with all that nonsense as well as those robots. If Arya knew about the project that made that, which would have been called something like the Paradise Project because it's Forgotten Eden, you know, allegories, she would have recognized the place, the robots, and everything that was going on there. She didn't come to the conclusion, or didn't even want to start thinking about the possibility of where the heck she was until we left there. No. No, she should not know anything about this project. She should know nothing. I call absolute BS. Yes, this was the last piece of research that the Kanes conducted. When they realized that there was no way of stopping the Red Queen from emitting Gaia dust, they made a plan to live among it. It was called the Paradise Project. The idea was to build a barrier around the city that would prevent the invasion of Gaia dust and create a heaven on Earth to live in. The issue is they only made like a single building floor and didn't make anything bigger. You saw abandoned Eden on Lost Gaia. That was a test city for the project. It's not big enough to be a city, but that means they gave up trying to resolve the Gaia dust? They had concluded that any attempt to bring the Gaia dust under control would be a waste of time. Okay, but what if, like, so how about, what if we got a Gaia dust net and we put it around the Red Queen? And now that we got this Gaia dust net, it keeps it all in there? What if we did that? No, wait, even better yet. What if we got umbrellas and we sprayed the umbrellas with Gaia dust repellent? That way we would have a Gaia dust repellent umbrella, and we could weather the storm of Gaia dust. As stupidly as I was saying that, I was referencing a horrible, like, anti-gay Christian ad that's horrible. But a bunch of comedians did a way better ad that was, like, just making fun of it. And it's hilarious, and I love showing the ad because it's on YouTube. And I think you can look up the fake ad. It's the fake ad by a bunch of these comedians making fun of this ad that was going around the time. If you look up YouTube, giant gay repellent umbrella. It's hilarious. It's so good. Anyways. How disappointing. In my time, we were still fighting hard to rid the world of the grandiose harmful effects. That's just how much things have changed since you left. Stupid. So stupid. They contradict themselves immediately. Arya started off, she knew about the project. Nope, I wasn't a part of that project. We weren't doing that project. We were doing something else that didn't exist. I would like you, more than anyone, to understand their decision though. Because the leaders of the Paradise Project were Mr. and Miss Lebenthal. Okay. Sure. Why not? None other than your parents. We didn't need that line. We know it's her parents. Actually, the only foreshadowing we have to the fact that that's her parents was the fact that Dianthus just randomly said her full name for no reason. Dianthus says Arya's full name during a cutscene for no reason, and that is the only foreshadowing that we would know Mr. and Mrs. Lebenthal are her parents. My mom and dad did that? Sure, why not? The Lebenthals, accomplished scholars, known for their astrum cell research, concluded that eliminating Gaia dust was infeasible. And the last 2,000 years have only proven them right. Well, it's just the Earth with Gaia dust now. There are species living with it that adapted to it and evolved to exist with it. You could have just made humans adapt and exist with it. Why didn't you go down that route? Why? Even we cannot find a solution for the Gaia dust, and we are high-level artificial intelligence. Like, are you high-level, or do you just think you are? Because I'm pretty certain there's better high-level artificial intelligence that we could have made if we had more time, just saying. After all, Dianthus and Geist, do you guys know the answer to life, the universe, and everything? What's that? You don't? It's 42. Frickin' idiots. Hold on, guys. That's not what you said before. Have you found a way to end Quietus? Yeah, you just gotta be loud. I said I'd made a breakthrough regarding Quietus. I don't recall saying I could end it. Yeah, but everyone here thought you meant you could end it, and you'd never corrected anyone. So, what's up with that? Oh, I'm a dickbag. Did you not know that? The idea of trying to end Quietus has already resulted in a great number of tragedies. Tracing it back, our arrogance is also the root cause of Lost Gaia getting trapped between dimensions. What? What does that mean? What? Ah, for frickin' Christ. It's been an episode. I will talk about what the F does that mean next episode. I hate the cutscenes in this game so effing much. What does that mean? How could you even write that with anything else going on and think that makes sense? Whatever. I'll talk to you guys in another episode. Ciao.